Okay, Coach, look, I'm making, okay, Lyman is my favorite man that's coming today. Turning off cat power. Lyman, so I'm making a lot of diabetic stuff. Look, that's just nothing but string cheese and a black skillet. I'll get it darker when he gets here. It's like, it's like a little bite of pizza, kind of, if you toast. Anyway, I'm just, you work with people. Then I'm going to do broccoli, a bunch of broccoli in a black skillet with a little bit of oil, a little speck of salt and pepper. Roast it real quick. Tastes delicious. Here's another plate of low carb stuff, some hummus and stuff, and some roasted sweet potatoes with I really got a way to cook those. I'm taking a ton of those. I mean, I hang out in the hood a lot, and some of those hood people are still like, girl, come. I'll take them food, like low, really good, low carb, yummy food. When they think sweet potatoes, they think brown sugar and marshmallows, all that gross stuff. No, I always thought but sweet potatoes were gross. Okay, here's a bunch of other stuff I made today. Like, that's my anti-phone device, hang out, basically. If people would hang out more, they'd be normal. Okay, so, you're right about Big Star and all that. Alex Chilton, I want to let you know, he was you were spot on. Some of those songs are good and stuff, but he was such a mean person. Not to me exactly, but I saw him do some really, really fucked up stuff to people. Really, really mean. Like, I was thinking, how in the world do people love him so much? This guy is a jerk. And you remind me a lot of Amy LaVere. Like, she's just a nice, good human. And when I get like this, I get brave to talk to my heroes. And or the heroes reach out. One time she reached out to me and told me, hey, I want you to know that Iggy Pop's, that Hunt sales guy was going to be in town. And I was like, okay, well, I did get kicked out because I paid my money. And then that guy that was running the door at DK, he chased me down Cooper. Those people hate me around there because if you talk to them straight and tell them what you think, they hate you. These posers, they try to be cool. They really don't know about anything. Well, that Alex guy was a spoiled little kid. He didn't know if he was a girl or a boy either. He was real confused about his sexuality. Nobody talks about that. I got a lot of old neighbors around here that were in bands back then. And that was part of it. Then the whole thing with him being he was real cruel to Cindy Bell's brother. Yep, and that guy, all my friends worked at that restaurant with him, Danvers, and they were just blown away that their boss was a musician. He was only 27. We were like 17, but we thought he was a grown-up and all that. And he would give those records to everybody at Danvers, all the girls that worked there on Perkins. I didn't work there. That was one thing I didn't do. But I worked everywhere in high school. I would walk so far and get weird jobs. Wherever my boyfriend would tell me to work, I would do it. Like, my boyfriend got a job at Holiday Inn as a busboy. He'd say, they told me they'll hire a girl busboy too, so come get a job at this Holiday Inn. And then I'd be working at all these weird jobs, and these Jewish girls would show up. It would freak me out, Mark. You know I'm Jewish, but I don't fit in with those people. Because really, I'm also Mississippi sharecroppers. My mother was a sharecroppers. So I got a lot of dichotomy. But listen, I know you're around all types of people, but you are spot on with that whole thing. That Alex guy freaked me out, how weird he was. One time I was at this place called Pogo's, and it was probably like something real important, some band that was probably real important. A lot of the bands, Iggy Pop would be there. Different random bands played out there. And this really ugly man was trying to get my wine. I had a bottle of wine, and I was drinking just right out of it. And I was asking all my friends, what's this man want? What, he's gross. I thought he has gross face and scary looking. He was going through something. He was all puffed up and kind of red. Looked like he was taking that medicine for acne that turns people's faces dark red or something. And everybody was going, just give him your wine. That's Alex Chilton. And I was like, fuck this. All right. I handed it over and stayed straight that night, but that's okay. That's all right. That's okay. We're going to beat you anyway. I was a cheerleader in high school. It was fun. It was crazy as hell. Then one time a redneck school came. I was at a game with some rednecks, and they were playing Melrose, and I couldn't believe the cheerleaders did this cheer. Big lips, pug nose, you come from Melrose. What the hell? Yep, I couldn't believe it. But I taught all my little quiet girlfriends that were sweet and cute how to act crazy and jump and just act insane. And guess what? They all got cheerleader. And guess who lost? Me. I was so ashamed. So then I turned to the kids that smoked pot. I didn't smoke it, but I'd ride around and go to 7-Eleven and play pinball, play in the ditch with the bad kids. But I thought pot was just terrible. I thought it was a drug. Well, it really was. And then I don't know why, one day in 11th grade at the end of the year, I smoked some and skipped school. And that changed my life again. But, I thought nobody in high school has sex. That's for grown-ups. And my boyfriend and I would kiss every single night on the Harding Academy bus, because that was behind our house. That was like having my own living room. Those school buses parked at Harding Academy, they were unlocked. Every single night, that was our hangout and make-out area. And we never took our clothes off. That's a dragonfly. Oh, it's so pretty out here. Look at this. Look at this. It's just, I just love it. So, Harding Academy was a big part of my life, Mark. I grew up playing up there every day. I knew every inch of the mansion, all those apartments. I mean, I still go up there, and there's a blind guy that's almost blind that walks around here, and I'll say, we'll talk, and he'll say, I was a seminary student. I said, did you play ping pong in the basement of that mansion? He said, yeah. I loved that place. And the bookstore, do you remember that? Nobody bothered me. They let me alone. They let me just play up there and do whatever I wanted, unless I got hurt. One time I fell, something cut my leg real bad and hurt real bad. I remember that. I was walking down a brick wall. I know it where. Anyway, then they all jumped into action because I was my blood-curdling scream. And they carried me home. Because our house, my mom would cut the fence. Our neighbors would put fences up. My mother would get out there with whatever tool it took to cut a fence down. She would not let anybody block Harding. And the Harding students that smoked pot or smoked cigarettes would hide at our house, cut through the fence and sit in our backyard and be teenagers. And my mother would talk to them. And a lot of them decided to quit Harding and go to White Station. And they'd start coming to our house all the time. It was really fun. But anyway, don't you let anybody steal your time, including me. I'm an asswipe for doing this, but I'm just trying to let you know that it's so fun to not be afraid of your heroes anymore. Like the other night, I was talking a whole bunch to Jack Oblivion, and when I left, I was just being normal, and I said, well, bye-bye, love you. And he was going, bye-bye, love you, like we're cousins or something, because I've been like talking to him for 20-something years, but I'm always nervous, and he knows that. And like, one time Spencer even went up to him and bought him a drink and said, you're one of my mother's favorite musicians. I want you to know I'm her son. Her name's Lisa. And then, then I'll go on a tangent around here sometimes and hate myself and tell myself, you're not a teenager. And I'll tear up all my posters and I'll give away all my records. I've done that a bunch of times. But somehow or other, I always miss a pile. And then I'm so grateful to the universe that I have some left. I got so depressed living in New Orleans, I sat on my porch for like a month, letting strangers pick through all my treasures. Because you know what? That's not where it's at, having more stuff. And I couldn't believe, I thought the word fulfillment center was a joke. I've never ordered anything off Amazon. I've never shopped or anything. I've never ordered a thing on a computer. I don't get it. Why does everybody want more stuff? I thought the name fulfillment center was a joke. That sounds like something off, like Dr. Spock would walk in and go to the fulfillment center. Go to the fulfillment center. It just sounds so space age. Like the word microwave. I got rid of that too. I think those are weird. Well, who wants to fix their food in that thing or make it hot? That's just weird. I'm over that shit. I didn't throw it out, I'll tell the truth. It broke and I just didn't replace it. I don't want one ever again. Because they are weird. My mother had to buy one because she got a job when I was like 15 or 16 and my brother was 14. It was huge and she tried to teach us how to use it because she felt bad for getting a job. And I mean, she didn't hover over us, but she was home and all of a sudden she got a job and it really changed her life for the better. She loved it. Being dressed up every day and working at M.M. Cone. Remember that store? M.M. Cone. Okay, I'll shut up. My voice is shot. I sound like Popeye's little sister. I got some spinach in there. I really do have some spinach in there. I'm just doing TAPAS for the boys. I hope this becomes a regular thing. Because it's healthy. It's healthy. And Lyman has a passport. And he's going to go to Montreal with me. As long as I get to stay out of trouble and get to go to that wedding. Poor Spencer. He just thinks. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know anybody like... You probably know about a few people like me. When I was young, I called it the soldier buzz when I'd get like this. Because I could stay up for like 4 days in a row and go the whole time. And that's how I like to travel. Because you don't need a hotel room. Because you really don't. Because you're never going to lay down anyway. What's the point? And then when I was so relieved when I found out in Europe what left luggage meant. I thought that meant like people were just stupid and forgot their shit. And there was a big lost and found area. And over there they called it left luggage in Europe. That's what I assumed. Then my friend comes to Waterloo Station. They pick me up in this itty bitty car. I met him. We met at Prince Mongo's when we were kids. And played and goofed off. I mean, he was younger than me. So if I was 18, he was sneaking in. He was 15. He's telling me wild shit we did. I'm like, oh God, getting all turning red. Don't talk about that shit. I'm sorry. But we're still friends. But he was living in London. And he said, come stay with me. So he said, what's all that shit you're carrying around? You got too much stuff. Go back in that station and found the left luggage area and get you a locker. You don't need all that. I was like, okay. Damn, that's what left luggage means. Because when you're carrying too much stuff and traveling, you're getting pneumonia. You get real tired and worn out. Once that light bulb went off, I was freedom from the bondage of all my stuff. That made my trip suck. Then, in Amsterdam, I was stashing my stuff in left luggage. It was wonderful. I went all over, and I never want to wear out my welcome. So I'd be in London for a few days. Then I'd go down to the south of England and stay with Peter's best friend for a while, for like 2 or 3 nights. Then I'd go on back to London. Then go on back to Amsterdam. I just kept jumping around for like 3 weeks straight. It was so much fun. And Amsterdam, I had a friend, but his wife in Memphis got mad and wouldn't give me his phone number. I'm walking around looking for the red light district. I had somebody pull my hair and say, Lisa. He was foreign. I said, what? He goes, what are you doing? I said, looking for that red light district. He goes, you bad girl. Put your stuff in here. He had a falafel shop. It was great having a buddy in Amsterdam. He would drive me around. He's that religion that listens to that weird music like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't even do it because my voice is gone, but they were Muslims. Him and all his brothers had like this falafel shop. And it was like, you do not need to roam the streets. I was like, yes, I do. You don't understand. But anyway, Charles Dickens had this shit that I have. He would wear out like 27 pairs of shoes a year. He would walk all night long in London, and his staff, he was rich enough to pay somebody to be with him. He was rich enough to pay for people to talk to, and all that junk. Because I'm sending you a check. And I hope you don't watch this video. I'm saving this video for a few days before I mail it to you because you're probably going to crack up. But I'm trying to let you know that you were right. You were spot on. And I know that you know that Terrence guy. Like Bubba and Terrence is what we always call him. And that Terrence guy, they're both so sweet. And like that Terrence guy, the other day I was with Pam McGuy at Overton Park. And for that North Mississippi All-Star thing. That Luther guy, Pam called him to just say, Luther, I love you. I'm going to hear your music tonight. But I'm going to be... And he called her back and said, you're backstage. She called me and she said, Saffy? She calls me Saffron. Saffron, we're backstage. And then Terrence comes up to us and is talking to her and begging her to make him a mobile for his child. And I'm thinking, he's one of my heroes too. I just love him. And he's so humble and so sweet and so normal. A carpenter at Graceland. How cool is that? One time I had to be Anthony Hopkins' waitress at Graceland. His wife booked the Automobile Museum for his 70th birthday. And he was the most humble, sweet man. He was like, quit calling me all that stuff. Just call me Tony. Because my boss was this Jewish asshole named Goldstein. He kept firing people. Like, he'll get you all the way out to a different area of town, work the shit out of you, and then fire you if he sees something. He was crazy. It was like so uncomfortable. It was just weird. People can be such assholes. They're just not clued in. You're clued in, man. You're so normal. And poor Spencer is so freaked out by me. He's just wringing his hands. He said, Mom, do you know what it's like to be sitting at a Father's Day dinner with your future in-laws? And mind you, he's probably sitting in the freaking Hamptons, okay? Or Manhattan. The in-laws have an apartment overlooking Central Gardens, whatever it's called, Central Park, and a place in the Hamptons. Well, you know, Spencer will call me up and say, what are you doing? I'll say, eating chicken noodle soup. He goes, I'm eating a lobster roll. It's funny as shit. And he said, Mom, I'm sitting there with these people. They don't know what's going on. I'm getting phone calls from Karen Blockman's management upset with you, and they're gonna, Mom, I'm sitting there trying to relax. My phone's wet. I'm sweating so bad. So my nerves, you're blowing. They don't even know. Anyway, I feel so sorry for him. I think I did this to him when he was in college too. He had something happen where he could not. He was like, he would like take a shower and then he would just start sweating. He'd be so scared for me. I was living in New Orleans and he didn't know what to think. I didn't either. And then he wouldn't talk to me for a long time. And then I'd call him up, or he'd call me, and it was just weird. I was scared. And his best friend died. He was scared ever to tell me any bad news. Ever. He would never tell me bad news. I guess trying to protect me. He's always had the daddy role. It's not fair to be a little kid and have to be the daddy. Sometimes he'd come down there, though, and find me. And I'd even know it. I'd fall asleep and not have I don't know. He would somehow or other scale those fences down in New Orleans, those tall fences around everything. And he would walk around this hotel, and I ran a hotel, and he'd find the room that was mine. I mean, he'd be on a trip, but he'd have like 5 or 6 girls with him. Little girls from his elementary that went to his college, too. They'd drive there. And it was so much fun, like having a party. Because I'd have a hotel full of people. It was like 4 or 5 rooms at the hotel. And I would try to explain, and I wouldn't even know where to put them. I would put them in the owner's little house behind the hotel and just pray that I didn't get caught. Dr. Bob got me that job down there in New Orleans. I was basically homeless, kind of, but I joined this Jewish relocation project. These Jews paid me to move there. And they would throw me out of different bars for saying that. And then I'd go to the sister bar. A lot of bars have sister bar, and I'd go and I'd say, Pity Pat just kicked me out. And they'd say, Pity Pat, he never is mean to anybody. I'd say, well, listen, he did that. And my boyfriend wouldn't come with me because he said a man has to choose between his woman or his bar. I was like, what? He'd say, well, look, I've been hanging in this bar for 3 months. I've only known you 3 weeks. And I'd be like, damn, that's some hardcore shit. I couldn't believe it. But, I really did. I got paid to move to New Orleans. And they paid my rent and everything. I couldn't believe it. If you Google right now and punch into your computer, Jewish relocation, what cities in America pay a Jew to move there, it'll pop up some random weird places. Well, for some reason, in 2009, they were paying Jews to move to New Orleans because I think a lot of Jews left after Katrina. And I was like, fuck it. And I pretended to be all excited and really Jewy. And they kept telling me, you have to have a computer. The people that ran the thing. And I was like, but what? They said, we don't let you handwrite anything. Everything has to be emails. And I was like, I've never done an email. And they were like, well, you're going to have to learn. I couldn't believe it. My brother still has never done one. My little brother, Harry, refuses to learn how to use a phone or an email. And I'm proud of him in a weird way. He's crazy as hell, too. I like Harry. He's a weirdo. He's become very Sanford and Son-like. He lives over there in that neighborhood that your kids would go to Sea Isle Elementary if you had a, you know what I mean, that district. But God, he's got this crazy girl from Frasier that will not go away. Lana. Like when we were kids, he wouldn't come to the antenna. He would be at like a discotheque in East Memphis. We were never anything alike. But we're only 2 years apart and we look like twins. So we have to be friends. But, I mean, we just have... The last 4th of July, he took me to a redneck bar. That was weird as shit. We had fun, though. Because she said she was a bartender there. It was all these rednecks, black and white. My God, have you noticed how many black kids now accept, like, this is weird. It's going to blow your mind. Javi, you know, Javi and the hyenas, Los Psychosis. He knows about Strayhorn. I'm like, what do you think about Strayhorn, Javi? He said, it's the only place I've ever been where black people have the rebel flag outside their door. Like, I said, I know. Isn't it weird? Even in this neighborhood by Memphis State, these black preppy kids that hang out with the frat boys, they're sitting there drinking beer, having partying, and there's all these freaking rebel flags around. I guess, like, it's no big deal now or something. Isn't that weird? Black people with rebel flags, I guess they're just, just a numbers game. If there's 100 people, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to give you something to really crack up on. This is funny as shit. These are the kind of thoughts I have. I just learned that there was 8 billion people on the planet like 2 years ago. I didn't have any idea there was that many folks on this planet. So you know damn well you have run up on somebody over the course of your lifetime that's a cannibal. I'm sure. Because I was looking at Peter's girlfriend the other day, and she's an anorexic, and I was looking at her, and I was thinking, if I was a cannibal, I'd pass her up. Those were my thoughts, but I was being nice to her and teaching her some yoga. But she just is in rough shape because she only drinks, like, Faygo or something. So I'm thinking to myself, damn, a cannibal would look at me or my neighbor and be like, give me some salt and pepper and some marinade. I mean, I weigh so much. It's crazy. But, and humans have been eating humans since the beginning of time, I guess. I don't have a taste for it. The other day, I celebrated my 1-year anniversary of being no pork, no beef. Guess what I did to celebrate that day? I won't do it again until 1 more year. I went to Tops Barbecue. It was so hard to chew. It seemed like it was just getting bigger and bigger in my mouth. But it made me sleep for like 12 hours. I swear to God, that poke knocked me out. Bye-bye. Check's in the mail.